Namaste and welcome everyone to another Soulful Session. So today the topic is preventing self-sabotage. As usual, let's start with a short invocation. Please close your eyes. Inhale and exhale slowly and deeply. Relax your body, calm your mind, and calm your emotions. Be aware of your whole body. If you feel any pain or discomfort at any area of your body, bring your awareness to that area and mentally say, I let go. I am not the body. The body is just a vehicle of the soul. I am the soul. I am that I am. Visualize your whole body disintegrate and disappear. All the pain and discomfort disintegrate and disappear. Organs in your body disintegrate and disappear. And what remains is just brilliant white light. Inhale slowly and deeply. Exhale slowly and deeply. Inhale and exhale. Now bring your awareness to your thoughts and your emotions. Just observe each and every thought that comes to your mind and fades away. Mentally say, I am not my thoughts. I am not my emotions. Thoughts and emotions are just products of the soul. I am the soul. I am that I am. Visualize all your thoughts and emotions disintegrate and disappear. Your fears, worries, frustrations disintegrate and disappear. What remains is just brilliant white light. Inhale slowly and deeply. Exhale slowly and deeply. Now bring your awareness higher to your crown chakra and mentally say, to the Supreme Being, Divine Father, Divine Mother, to our spiritual teacher, to all the spiritual teachers, all the holy gurus, holy masters, saints, archangels, holy angels, and spiritual helpers. Thank you for all of your priceless blessings, for divine light, divine love, and divine power, divine guidance, help, and protection. Thank you in full faith. Thank you for bringing us here together to study spirituality and grow together. Thank you in full faith. Inhale slowly, inhale all the blessings. Exhale slowly and be aware of your whole body. Inhale slowly. Exhale slowly. Inhale slowly, inhale all the blessings. And when you are comfortable, gently open your eyes with a big, big smile. Namaste and welcome. So what we are going to do is to study first what is self-sabotage. After that, we are going to discuss about what are the ways that we can prevent it. And at the end, we will have mass healing. And the mass healing will be only for the online participants, the participants who are joining the webinar right now. So we are removing it from the recordings. So let's begin.
Hi, everyone. Atma Namaste. Orko here. Thank you for the wonderful invocation, Hengame. Now, I have a quick question before we start. And that quick question is, can you hear me clearly? Okay, that wasn't the actual question. The actual question is, how many of you feel, okay, that was just me trying to disarm you and get you to start laughing. So it activates the heart chakra. And when the heart is activated, more energy comes in and then you become more receptive to whatever it is that we got to say. So hopefully everyone's got a nice big smile happening on their faces right now. The question I actually wanted to ask you is, do you notice that there are certain things, certain tasks which you should be doing, that you must be doing, but you simply do not feel like doing it. It could be something insignificant, like maybe calling the plumber to fix something, or tidying up your desk, or it could be something major like filing your taxes or renewing your passport. Could be something, right? Now, the question that I want to ask you is, have you noticed that once you get started, the work actually just gets done? Now, obviously, if you have not started the work at all, you can't answer the question. What I want to bring to your mind is a very common psychological study which says that the work expands to fit the time given. Let me say that again. The work expands to fit the time given, which means if I allocate myself to make a presentation and I say, okay, you know what, I have 24 hours to do it, chances are I'm going to deliver the presentation 1 hour before the session. That happens. But if I allow myself that, okay, I'm going to take 30 minutes and I'm going to start at 5 o'clock, and at 5:30 on the weekend, I'm going to deliver it. It happens. The thing is, our mind is a very stretchy, sticky thing. You tell it something, it'll do it. You give it that much time, it'll increase the work to make sure that time happens. So while researching for a presentation on self-sabotage, I look up a book. And then from the book, I find a video. From that video, suddenly I'm an expert in the digestive system of rabbits, because you just go down the rabbit hole. So if you've noticed that you are procrastinating, you are preventing yourself from being as optimum, then you're in the right session, and we'll be doing something to remove some of those energies which are causing you to sabotage not just your work, but maybe your relationships, maybe your future plans also. And I can see from the screen there's certain participants who join our monthly mass prosperity healing sessions. So we have prosperity healing specifically for your fitness and targets. Those participants will get an additional boost because we'll be working on some of the things that affect your prosperity also. So someone will put up on the screen the link for the mass prosperity healing session, which is also one of the ways in which you can actively prevent yourself from sabotaging your health, your finances, and other things. So I'm going to start with a little bit of a story. This is part of the That's Me group. It's a long introduction, and this person is in the meeting. So this guy, he wanted to travel internationally. Okay, it was his first international travel. And so he consulted a number of people, took their advice on whether to go, not to go, when to go, where to go. And basically, 3 months before the trip, he had informed unknowingly maybe a dozen people. And it just so happened that there were some travel regulations, there were some issues with the passport and the visa, and eventually all that money which he invested in the tickets and so on did not happen. In his excitement, in his happiness, he accidentally self-sabotaged. One of the reasons why this happens, well, we'll get into the reasons why. And for that, I invite Hengame to talk about the science and so forth.
Thank you so much. So yes, self-sabotage, as Arco was explaining, is when we ourselves create limitation, and we prevent ourselves from doing things that we can actually do. Okay, I experienced this before. I used to have this a lot, and it has improved so much thanks to pranic healing and Master Choakokshu's teachings. So it doesn't matter how much IQ you have or how much potentiality you have. Sometimes even if other people believe in you, if you have this, if you have self-sabotage, you will limit yourself and you will prevent yourself from doing things or from pursuing your goals and dreams and what, let's say, what makes you successful or success, because you think you don't deserve it. Sometimes you think you're not good enough, and you have doubts and guilty feeling, and all of these can lead or can cause self-sabotage. Okay, now what are some of the signs? Can we go to the next slide, please? as like when you experience this self-sabotage, it leads to certain situations or behaviors. Okay, so one of them is you start avoiding people or situations that make you uncomfortable or sometimes push you to the limit because you think you don't deserve it or you think you can't be successful. For example, when you go to a shopping mall, how many of you actually go into these very, very expensive stores just to have a look? Like you go to Rolex, you go to, I don't know, where, some of these very, very expensive brands, only handful, right? Not everybody goes because sometimes by the time you're passing by, looking at these prices and all these expensive brands and objects, you yourself think, why should I go in? I don't belong there. No, the person, the shopkeeper's job is to actually give you service. So whoever you are, if you go in and you want to try a Rolex, you want to try this, I don't know, suit or bags or whatever, they should actually give it to you. But what makes you yourself prevent yourself from going in? I had that before. Okay, so I remember going to this like shopping mall, some of the stores, I myself prevent myself from going inside because I think this is too expensive. This is for people who are very prosperous. It's not for me. Even sometimes in my head, I think um, by just looking at me, they will know that I'm not prosperous enough to go in and try. So they may not even um, serve me and they may not even actually entertain me. But after working on myself to remove and disintegrate these negative thoughts, negative self image, and all these programs and beliefs, one time after I improved so much, I went and I actually went inside and I tried so many different, you know, watches and so on. And the person was actually very, very kind and whatever I wanted, he would bring and I would try and so on. So then I was thinking, okay, even if before I would go inside and I wanted to try, I could. It was only me that was preventing myself. And then knowing about Kriya Shakti and all this energy of prosperity and so on. So I really went inside and I really tried and I really tried to actually absorb this prosperity energy, which previously I prevented myself from doing because of these beliefs and sabotaging behavior. Okay, now another sign, staying within your comfort zone and avoiding change. Okay, so because you don't think you can do it, sometimes you prefer to stay in the situation that you are already comfortable with. Okay, so another thing is, I'm not sure if it's in the next slide or this one, that you set goals which are very low. Okay, like again, going back to myself before, because I had this and also a low self-esteem, it's very interesting because whenever I was in a certain situation that it was a competition, I had to compete, I would win or I would at least become second. But because I had this behavior, I never put myself in situations where I had to compete. Do you understand? So it means whenever they're children, we want to play things, I never suggest games that there is competition inside because I was worried that I may lose. But if the situation happens and somehow I'm pushed inside to do it, I would usually win. It's irony because you may have the potential, but because of the beliefs, you don't put yourself to face these situations and to set goals and in situations that you can actually succeed because you think you can do it. Even though when you are in that situation, you usually become successful, but you won't put yourself in that situation. Okay? Next, comparing yourself to others. I'm sure many of us have this, but sometimes it becomes too much. Social withdrawal or isolation, depression, especially if low self-esteem becomes too much, it can lead to a sort of depression, risky behavior, controlling behavior, okay? And controlling behavior because of pride. Now, for some of you have joined our previous sessions on self-esteem, and if you already teachings by Master Choa Sui, you have heard him saying that pride and low self-esteem are both two sides of the same coin. Okay, so you may think you have low self-esteem and you don't have pride, but actually they are the same. And I can testify that sometimes I would feel I'm the best, sometimes I would feel I'm the worst, because it just changes from one extreme to the other extreme. And one of the reason is we don't have accurate perception about what is really my strength and what is really my weakness. Okay, so sometimes you compare yourself with others, and in order to actually how to say, in order to actually be able to live with yourself, you may wear this mask of pride, and at some situations you may think you are the best and everybody is stupid, everybody is doing the worst, like everybody is doing the wrong thing, you are the only person who knows. And then another half an hour, 1 hour, you may think I'm the worst. Everybody is good. So to avoid, we need to build a good self-esteem, and we need to remove all these negative thoughts and attitudes. So if you know people who are very controlling, if you know people who always complain about others, who always criticize others, they think they are the best, it could be because of low self-esteem. Okay, so actually they need help. And looking for approval is another sign for self-sabotaging behavior, and finding excuses, because sometimes you don't think you can do it. So instead of actually taking responsibility, you always coming up with excuses because you cannot accept yourself the way you are, something like that. Okay, so those are the signs for self-sabotage. So we are not here to judge anyone. If you find yourself showing these behavior, then means you need to do something about it. And I'm openly saying I had that before and it has improved so much. Still, there is a, character building is a continuous practice and there is no end to it. So I'm still practicing it, but it has improved so much using the practices and teachings of pranic healing and Master Choa Sui. So if I could do it, everybody here can do it. So let's move on. Why people have um,
So the thing is, hi, many of us, we've had difficulties when we were growing up. Okay, some of us still feel that we are not yet grown up and we're just legally we're adults and we're just pretending to go through life, pretending to understand, hitting the benchmarks which society decides is important for us. You're born, you study, you get a job, you get married, you get kids, you retire, you die. We go through this cyclical process. And this sometimes creates within us a lot of internalized conflict. I know some people who are very happy when they're single, and a few days after they're single, the only thing they can think of is being in a relationship. And then when they're in a relationship, the only thing they can think of is, I wish I was single again. There's so much freedom. So they keep shuttling back and forth because they're not decided in their mind what it is that they want. And that is an issue which so many of us have. We don't know what we want. We do not know what we want. Now, one of my pastimes is to watch some videos on YouTube on motivational speakers, finance advisors, and spirituality, and so on. There was one particular advisor, I shared this link in one of the groups. One particular financial advisor, he says, if I told you that money is no object, what would you do with your life? And most people don't have an answer to that. But I'm asking you now, if money was not an issue, what would you be doing in your life? Would you be doing the same thing that you do today? Many of you will probably say no. I would be doing something different. But what that different thing is, we don't really know. Many of our issues, many traumas like this creates within us low self-esteem. We want to be doing something, but we are doing something else. What the thing that we are doing, we have a sense of responsibility or a sense of guilt that it has to be perfect. It has to be done absolutely right. But we don't end up doing it, which causes within us a lot of difficulties, a lot of shortcomings. Now, let me ask you this. How much money, if I'm just talking finance, how much money would you need so that you could do whatever you wanted in life? Most people don't have an answer to that question. 99% of people don't have an answer to that question. They'll give fantastic figures, okay? They'll say something as huge as $1 billion. Or there'll be someone who'd say something like $10,000. Now, $10,000 for the attendees who are coming in from India, it's not a huge sum of money. It'll last you maybe 2 years. And $1 billion will last you several hundreds of years. So we don't even know what we want. So how can we get what we don't want? And naturally, on the process of getting it, we are going to be creating obstacles in our own life based on, again, what Hengame said, I am not good enough, or I'm not prosperous enough, or I don't know. So step one, you need to know what you want. When you go there, you'll be able to figure out, once you write down your goals, once you write down your targets, you'll be able to figure out where you're going wrong and how to set that right. So again, the normal, coming back to the question of what's normal, it's normal to grow up, go to school, go to college, start a job, earn a certain amount of money, live in a certain size house, drive a certain prosperous kind of car, expensive car, use a very expensive cell phone, and so on. That's considered normal. The thing is, even according to science, we don't know what's normal. We know what's average. We know that men should be of a height of between, 5'4" to 6'5". We should know that women should be of a certain height. So we know that's the average. If you're 5'1", that's normal for you. If you're 7'3", that's normal for you. You are different from the average. So don't compare yourself to what the normal or what the world thinks is normal. You know what's average. Change your standards, change your approach accordingly. And if you can remove the gap between what is real and what you want, that is when you stop preventing yourself from self-sabotaging. And that is why we do it. However, there's the energetic component of it. These are the physical, psychological stuff. I love psychology. These are the psychological components, but then we go into the physical side of things. Does this make sense? If you agree, write yes in the chat or show us a thumbs up. Interact. Now we talk about the energy side.
Now, before we talk about this, there's a question in the chat that when you don't want to go to a certain stores, it could be because you don't want to unnecessarily bother salesperson. Okay, now I'm not saying this about this specific person who asked this. I'm just saying this in general because I have experienced this. Sometimes when we don't do certain things, we are all very intelligent people. So we try to find excuses to make us feel comfortable. Okay. So like if you don't feel like you want to go in because you don't feel like you belong. So sometimes it's possible that we logicalize this by saying, oh, I don't want to take the person's time. But if you really think about it, there was another person who replied nicely, like Rohit, thank you so much, that first of all, many of these people, especially very expensive stores, they don't get a lot of customers. Okay, so sometimes it's a bit boring. You just stand there and nobody is coming. So you take your example. If you go to work and you don't have anything to do, you really get bored. Like sometimes if I have a lot of work in my office, I get tired, yes. But if I don't have anything to do, I get even more tired because it's time. Like you don't know what to do with your time. So sometimes when you go in, you try to interact with these people, they even enjoy that. Okay, so that's number one. And number two, how it was written in the chat, yes, awareness. So whenever you go inside, you see things, it creates awareness. And for other people who are in the mall, they see that that store have some customers, they feel like, okay, it's nice, let's go inside also and see what is inside. Like restaurants, when you want to choose which restaurant to go, would you prefer to go somewhere that there are a lot of customers or somewhere that is very quiet, nobody inside? So sometimes psychologically you think the one that has more customers probably have better food. Now, if it's a shop, probably they have good products. Maybe there is even a discount. So you go inside and higher chances that you get interested and you buy something because many of us, if we want to buy, we can buy it. It's just not in our budget, right? So sometimes you may even get very excited and you buy something very expensive. Who knows? So the shop may benefit as well. Okay, now let's go back to so we need to be very careful catching ourselves whenever we start making excuses about the things that we don't feel comfortable to do because of self-limitation or self-sabotage. So as Master Shokoksu says, we need to be brutally honest with ourselves because that is the way to change. Now, how does self-sabotage affect our life and success? Okay, so in one of the esoteric study sessions and soulful sessions, we have discussed about the concept of thought forms. Whenever we think about something, we create a thought form, and we discussed that thought form affects the physical world. So if you want things to happen, they happen because of the power of thoughts. Thought affects objects, affects the physical world. And willpower affects our thought process or thought power. And that is also the basis behind the science of Kriya Shakti. So if you're interested, one of the fantastic workshops I really recommend you to join because the success rate is really high, especially if you practice it properly. So Kriya Shakti means using the power of thought to manifest things or materialize things. Now, sometimes we create positive thoughts, right? When you have a certain goal, when you have a certain project and you have set some goals for it, or you have some wishes, you have some plans. So you create positive thoughts, strong thoughts, especially if you are doing it with a group who are quite energetic and enthusiastic to make it happen. Now, when we experience self-sabotage, just after we create this thought form of, let's say, having certain amount of money, or I don't know, going to that trip that Arko was talking about in the beginning, like this guy initially thought, I want to go to this trip. And the thought form was strong to the extent that the person already bought tickets and so on. So everything is planned. But after that, there was some negative thought forms created. Now, in this situation, it could be after sharing with others. But in many cases, when we are experiencing self-sabotage, we are the one who created ourselves. So means after you create this positive thought of, I want to become, I don't know, the manager of this department, for example, then immediately after you start thinking, but what if people don't listen to me, or the other people are better than me, I don't have enough knowledge, so we start creating so many negative thoughts that actually go after this positive thought and bring it down, and therefore that goal or plan doesn't happen. Now, why people who are experiencing self-sabotage put lower goals? Because in their mind, they think, okay, this is so low, even I can do it. So they don't create negative thought of not being able to do it, and therefore they achieve success. But if we put an optimistic goal and we use techniques to disintegrate and remove all these negative thoughts or self-sabotaging thoughts, we can actually achieve greater success, be it regarding finances or in a relationship. You see, I have seen so many people who look very beautiful, they're very smart, but just because they are having low self-esteem, they cannot find a right partner and therefore they're single. Or they find a partner that the partner take advantage of them because they have this very low standard in their head, and sometimes they think they don't deserve, so therefore they get taken advantage of. And I know some people, even in my head, sometimes many years ago, now I try not to really criticize or create negative thoughts, but many years ago I was doing it. And some still I do, but I try not to do anyways. So I know these people from like high school, and even in my head I was thinking, who will go and get friends with this person? I mean, like boyfriend, because the person body doesn't look good, even the face doesn't look good, and so on. And somehow they found a boyfriend who was like really hot and sexy and fantastic. And I'm like, how? And when you talk to this person, you realize how much self confidence they have. And because of that self confidence, they materialized a boyfriend who was like fantastic. Even some other people who were much more beautiful and smart and so on couldn't do it. Why? It's all in the head. That person was had a lot of self confidence and thought that, of course, I deserve this. But many of us, we think the other way. And that we have to change, because what happens to us is based on what we think and what we believe. Okay, so now how to deal with it?
I remember this story. Everyone, have you seen this little small movie that came out a little while ago, Spider-Man No Way Home? Spider-Man No Way Home? Heard of it? Yes? No? Thumbs up? If you don't say thumbs up because I can't see you on the screen, you'll have to give me a thumbs up so I can see it. In that particular movie, there was a scene where one of the Spider-Man, by the way, spoiler alert, it came out 6 months ago. So if I'm spoiling the movie for you, tough luck. There's a scene in which Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, he says, I'm lame, I'm not good, I'm not cool. And then Tobey Maguire, the original Spider-Man, he says, wait. Can we rewind and go back to that self-talk, that negative self-talk? You're amazing. Take it in for a moment. You are amazing. Everyone, you are amazing. You are worthy. You can do it. See, the thing is, it's very common for insecurities and self-limiting beliefs to come up to the surface when we really want something. And insecurity, it originates from this inner critic that tells us that we cannot accomplish something or that we're not good enough. And that's the root cause. So you've got to identify the root cause. Is it fear, anger, frustration, the fear of rejection, maybe some emotional baggage? In fact, in that particular, on the presentation, you can see everyone's carrying some sort of emotional baggage, but one guy seems to have it on the side. So yeah, we are all carrying our emotional baggage. And these come as a result of our past belief systems, the way our parents brought us up, the kind of relationships we were exposed to. We need to change the way we talk to ourselves. For example, how many of you here would like some more money? The responses will be really fast on this one, yeah? You know that I like to get people to start interacting. So how many of you like money? Everyone who doesn't reply, okay, no money for you. And messages are coming in. Me, yes, me, yes, yes, yes. Come on. Only 4 people like money and a few people say thumbs up. All right, great. Sometimes we say, I can't afford it. You see a car, a bag, a phone, something. I can't afford it. So what happens is you create that thought form, you create that energy of not affordability. On the other hand, if you change the script to say, it's not in my budget right now. What do you say? It's not in my budget right now. What you do is you're essentially creating for yourself a financial discipline, number one. And number two, it's not in your budget right now, meaning it will be in your budget sometime in the future. So we tend to say this negative self-talk, we tend to say a lot of things which hurts the root. So change your talk, get into the root cause, alter that, and you'll be able to move into something which are known as your strengths.
Okay, now strength. So means instead of focusing so much on the things we can't do, we focus on what we can do. Okay, so you may not be the most intelligent person in the world. Again, we don't compare ourselves with others. You may not know many sciences like microbiology or writing apps or so on, but there are certain strengths that you have. Okay, for example, I heard this from Master Danny, which I found quite funny, but true. Like if you think about it, if you have done pranic healing, if you have done advanced pranic healing, how many people in the world can project, for example, color pronounce? So many, right? Then if you have done psychotherapy, how many people in the world can disintegrate thought forms? So you see, there are so many things you can do. Now, these are just examples. So many things you can do that not everybody else could do. We all have a lot of strength and we are improving our weaknesses, but we all have strength. We all have come so far in our life after many incarnations. Now we're here, we are unique, and we have strength. You could be a very kind person. You could be very good with customer service. You could be very good with mathematics. You could be very good with music. Or you could be a very good yoga practitioner or yoga instructor, or you could be a very good teacher, or a good father, a good mother, a good sister. So all of these are strengths. So instead of focusing so much on what we can't do, one of the ways to improve our self-image is focusing on the things that we can do and appreciate that and be happy and grateful that we have these strengths. So if we are grateful and if we are happy and appreciative, then we can actually receive or attract that kind of energy and then improve ourselves more and more and more. But if we keep thinking about the negative characteristics, then we are bringing ourselves down. We are attracting more of that kind of energy and then it gets worse and worse. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't think about our weaknesses at all, because we also need to know what are our weaknesses. But we need to immediately changing back into strength, means thinking about the solution. Now I have this weakness, how can I improve it? But not really focusing continuously on the weakness. Now there is one technique which we are going to do later on, and then there is a mass healing that we will try to do together and try to disintegrate and remove some of these weaknesses we have and change that, transmute that into positive energies and strength.
Thank you. We need to know that it's absolutely okay to ask for help. We have various areas in our lives: physical, emotional, mental, social and relational, financial, of course, and spiritual. We have these different components, facets of our lives, which we struggle in. Now, back when I was entering healing so many years ago, I thought, okay, if someone has a physical problem, we do a physical solution: workout, lose weight, sleep, healing. If someone has a relationship problem, do the corresponding thing. But over time, it has been my experience that if someone's got physical problems and psychological problems and relationship problems and financial problems, focus on fixing your spiritual connection. Focus on improving the quality of your energy, the quality of your auras and chakras. Seek help. It could be something as simple as talking to a friend or a licensed therapist that really helps, or a coach. You can talk to us, you can talk to pranic healers. You can receive healing for whatever insecurities hurt you. Take pranic healing, take the techniques, go in for some energy work. It's absolutely okay to ask for help. And we want to just reiterate this: of all the 100 odd people who are here, 1111, you're not alone. We are all struggling in one way or the other. Today, we do these talks every Tuesday. Recordings are put up, emailed to each and every one. We got 1,000 odd people who receive these emails, and there's a private group. Rohit, thank you so much for sharing it. We share the recordings usually within 48 hours of the session. We want to help as many people as possible because we ourselves went through all that hurt, a lot of hurt before. Sometimes, we still go through it, but Tuesdays means we put on a smiley face and tell you everything's perfect. No, that's not it. We're all struggling, all of us, some of us more, some of us less. If when you help each other by the law of karma, we get helped in return. So if you seek help, you will be given something, and later on, maybe you can help someone else and make the world a little bit better. So it's okay to ask for help. In fact, one of the helps we'll be doing right now, very interesting technique, is a writing practice, which Hengaba will talk about.
Thank you so much, Arko. Now, for this technique, we actually need a piece of paper and a pen. So if you don't have it, maybe we can wait for you to get it. We will wait for 1 minute. Thank you.
1 minute.
Fantastic. So everybody please get a piece of paper and a pen so that we can do this together. And this will help us further to have awareness and identify some of these issues so that later during the mass healing, we can consciously let go of it and let the energy, group energy, and the energy of the divine disintegrate and release it from our system.
For those who already have the pen and paper, did you just notice a duck floating on the screen on the water? There was a duck that just floated by.
Oh.
Right, let's go.
Fantastic. Okay, now what we are going to do, take that piece of paper and you can divide it into two. You can just fold it and divide it into two. On the left side, we are going to list down all the weaknesses you think you have. Now, whether you really have it or not, doesn't matter. What is in your head is important that we want to now use this technique and remove it, disintegrate it. So please list down whatever weaknesses you think you have. It could be like you think you are short-tempered, you think you are not good socially with people, you cannot find friends, you think you are not beautiful enough, whatever. You think you don't have a good image of yourself physically, like you think you're not fit, you think you're lazy, yeah, all of that. You think you procrastinate, you think you don't deserve to be successful, you think you are not rich, You think you have self-doubts. Yeah, what are the self-doubt? Don't just write self-doubt. What are the doubts? Like, what negative thoughts about you have about yourself? It could be physically about your body. You think like you are fat or you are ugly or whatever. Sometimes you are not, but it's in your head. Have you seen some people who are very slim, but then they say, "Oh, I think I'm fat." Oh, are you
Body response,
kidding
yeah.
me? So whatever thought, negative thoughts you have about yourself, all those doubts, all those limiting thoughts, you think can be successful if you are aiming, let's say, to be a manager of a set of your department, or to start your own business and make it successful. You have lots of negative thoughts about yourself that you cannot do it. Sometimes it's about life, like life is not fair. So whatever is affecting you and your life at the moment, list them down, as many as you can think of. You may sometimes think, I'm not intelligent enough, I'm not good looking, I'm not good with relationships, I can't keep a partner, I can't keep money. Some people attract money, but as money comes, money goes. So sometimes there may be this thought that money is not enough and fear of losing money. So whatever it is, just list them down. Left side of the paper. Okay, fantastic. Now, before we do anything with that, I want you to write the opposite on the right side of the paper. Okay, so means if you have written that I'm not good looking, so on the other side of the paper you will write I look beautiful, or I am handsome, or I look handsome. If you have written I am lazy, on the other side of the paper you will write I am industrious. So whatever you have written in a negative way, write the opposite in front of it on the other side of the paper. If you have written I'm not a very sociable person, on the other side you will write I'm very friendly, or I can find friends easily. Okay, so just the opposite, the positive opposite of what you have written. We will wait a little bit for everyone to finish. If you have written I have a short temper, on the other side you can write I'm patient. So I'm not loving, on the other side you write I'm loving. So whatever it is, write the positive um, side of it, the opposite. Okay, fantastic. So now, has everyone done? Are you finished with writing? Yes? Give me a thumbs up if you're done. Okay, fantastic. Now what we are going to do is, you are going to tear it down from the center. Now we said divide it into two parts. One part you have written the negative, one part you have written the positive. Now from that center, tear the paper down. Now you have two pieces of paper. One is with a negative part, one is with a positive. Short invocation, and then we are going to tear the negative side together with the intention that we let go. Okay? Because writing is a way of externalizing the energy. So as you write down, you are actually externalizing that negative thought on the paper, right? Now with the intention to disintegrate that energy, we are going to tear the paper. Okay. Now later, after the session, if you have time, it's best you burn it. But if you cannot burn it, it's okay. Just dispose it properly. But if you can burn it, that would be better, because when you burn it, the energy really integrates. Okay, so shall we do it? Now later, after this, I will tell you what to do with the positive. Now let's deal with the negative side first. Let's do a short invocation to the Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother, to our spiritual teacher, to Master Chuakok Sui, to Lord Mahaguruji Mailing, all the great ones, holy gurus, holy masters, saints, archangels, holy angels, healing angels, and healing ministers, to all the wings of light, thank you for all of your priceless blessings, for divine light, divine love, and divine power, divine guidance, help, and protection. Thank you for your inner healing and physical healing. Thank you for helping us let go of all these negative thoughts, emotions, energies, all these self-limiting, self-sabotaging thoughts, programs, and behaviors. Thank you in full faith. Now, with the intention to actually let go and to disintegrate the energy, whatever energy you just externalized on that piece of paper, please tear it down. Okay, tear it into smaller pieces. If you know color pranas, you know what color to project when you're doing it. Please tear it down and release. Let go. As you're tearing it down, it's like you let go. Just feel the energy coming out and mentally say, I choose to let go. I choose to release all these negative thoughts, emotions, energies, behaviors, programs. Fantastic. Now you can keep it aside. Later, after this talk or tomorrow, the sooner the better. If you have an opportunity to burn it, please do it. Thank you. Now, what to do with the positive side? That becomes your affirmation, everyday affirmation. So, yes, if you cannot burn it, you can flush it into the toilet. It's fine. But if you can burn it, that would be better. Now, positive side becomes your daily affirmation. Okay, now affirmation is a way to program the mind to think in the direction that we want. Okay, so you take that positive side and every day read it. You can read it once or as many times as you want. You can read it once in the morning. If later in the afternoon you feel your energy is going down, you can read it again with emotions, right? So for example, as you read it as I am a person, I am smart, I am what else? I am industrious. I achieve success. I am responsible. Whatever I finish successfully. Whatever you wrote. Okay, so read it with energy. Okay, because energy gives thought form power to materialize faster. And repetition, the same thing, make it stronger. So that becomes your affirmation at least for a month. So after 1 month, let's come back and see what happens, how you feel, and if you can see already changes in your life and how you deal with different challenges, problems, projects, and so on. Okay, thank you so much. So let's move on.
When you actually sit down and see the kind of things which your own negative self-talk brings out, all the negative qualities. There's anger, sharpness, criticism, um, lazy, not productive. And I'm reading just from my list. So there are all sorts of things which we can feel very guilty about. We can feel that we are not doing enough. So as Master Choa Sui says, the quotes you see on the screen, they're from the teacher, from the founder of Pranic Healing and Arhatic Yoga, our teacher, Master Choa Sui. And he says that you are your own limitation. If you think it cannot be done, it cannot be done. But if you think it can be done, it can be done. And the external obstacles are nothing compared to your internal obstacles. Your greatest limitation comes from within, not from without. You feel, now there's a very interesting connotation to this particular statement. Your greatest limitation comes from within, not from without. We have this tendency of measuring success in our life as benchmarks. Without this degree, I'm not qualified. Without this kind of 20,000 square meter property, I'm not wealthy. Without this car, I haven't arrived. Your greatest limitations are not from the external things, it's from internally. Your motivation, pride, humility, self-esteem, your loving kindness, and all of that. So while this section is about meditation, it doesn't necessarily mean that, okay, meditation would mean the, switching on the Twin Hearts meditation and sitting down, or to just, dark room and have a candle and go, oh, no. In this case, the meditation is to be aware. Be still. Be aware. Be aware of the various issues that hurt you, that plague you. With this, officially, we will come to a conclusion of the recorded part of the session, because through the meditation, we'll then move on to the mass healing component. So everyone, prepare yourselves. We will be starting now. To everyone who's joining for the recording, Atma Namaste. See you for the next one. What we had for today. And the healing is done. And of course, do share in for any courses. Hengame?
Thank you so much. So whatever we shared today was from the teachings of Master Choa Kok Sui and Pranic Healing, which has helped myself and Orko. And so whichever country you are, if you want to know more, please just Google Pranic Healing in your area and then try to have a look and see how they can help you. And if you're in Malaysia, you can just Google Prana World and we will be more than happy to have you.
So if the sessions help, thank you for joining in. We'll be doing this more regularly in the future, that the live sessions have these kinds of healings. If it helps, you can just write on social media, on our Facebook and Instagram about it, so it helps reach out more and more people. Take care, everyone. Atma Namaste.
Namaste.